welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy, and for today's Casing the Catalogue, we are casing from the MINI Catalogue. Now I'm using the Country Club suite this week, and it's on page 46. Let me show you this. It is a gorgeous suite, really masculine. Today's card is this one here that we are casing. It looks like a 5x5 or a 6x6 card. I'm actually just making it a normal size card for today's casing. Let me bring it in and show you. It's this one here. Super cute, isn't it? Now, I'm actually not using any stamp set from this suite. I'm using the designer series paper, and that's it. So this is a really great designer series paper that if you don't want to actually purchase the whole suite, you can get away with the designer series paper because it makes it really easy with these images in here that we can colour in. So let's get over to the craft table and we'll get started. So I want to be honest with you at the start. I have changed this card up a little bit from the catalogue. Let me bring that in and show you. So the things that I've changed is the sentiment, which is actually comes from the stamp set in this suite. I've used a different stamp set, and I've also used a different embossing folder there. They use the Argyle embossing folder, which is also part of this suite. So I haven't used the stamp set or the Argyle embossing folder, but everything else is pretty much the same. So let me bring that in and show you the card. So I've gone with the brick and mortar embossing folder, and this is the sentiment that I've gone with, and that actually comes from a Good Man stamp set. This is an awesome masculine stamp set, so sweet. I love these three images, and the sentiments are just amazing to go on any masculine card. Like I said before, I've got the Bricks and Mortar 3D embossing folder. We have the Country Club Designer Series paper. Now, I love this paper. It has these pages that you can cut out and colour in, which is one of them, which is what we're using today. But look at these images here. It's a real great masculine colours and designs. Great if you have family members or loved ones that play a lot of golf. This is perfect. We are using the Country Club twine combo, and we've got the Night of Navy for that one. Let me bring in the colour combo because this is a nice combo. We have Petal Pink, Call Me Clover, Shaded Spruce, Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, and Crumb Cake. And we are using both the blender pen and the aqua painter, and I'm using the smaller fine tip in the aqua painter. That's all the supplies. Let me bring in the card kit, and you can find all the measurements and supplies for this card kit in the description of this video. There's also clickable links that you could purchase if you live in Australia and you would like to make this card or purchase any other supplies. You can do so in my online store. Please use the hostess code, and not only will I send you a homemade gift or project, whether it be a card or a project, I'll send you a bundle tutorial. These are printable PDF tutorials that will be sent to you via your email, and you'll also earn yourself Inky rewards for every $50 that you spend. So a really great reason to shop through me. I would love it if you did. So we have a piece of this designer series paper, the Country Club designer series paper, and it measures the same as the card front. We have a crumb cake card for our embossed image. We have a piece of that designer series paper, and like I said, there are 12 in one piece that you can use, so lots and lots of different options for you to use on the card. We're going with this one because that's what the catalogue has. I have a piece of Whisper White for our sentiment. I have a piece of Whisper White, and that's just to go behind the designer series paper, just to give it that little bit of extra strength. I have some pieces of vellum that are just giving that little bit of a detail on the top and bottom of our image. We have a strip of Whisper White for the sentiment and a strip of Night of Navy for behind the sentiment, so just to give it another little bit of an element. So let's get started. I'm going to bring the big shot in and just do that little bit of embossing with that crumb cake, and then we can get started colouring. I have my 3D embossing plate here as well. So I'm just going to pop the cardstock inside the embossing folder. I'm going to open up my folder, and I'm going to run this one through. Wrong way, let's go that way. And look how gorgeous that is. That is spectacular. And so before we start colouring in, let's just start assembling part of our card together. So we can glue down with some liquid glue that designer series paper, and we can also glue down that embossed crumb cake card that we've just done. I like to sort of get rid of a few things off my desk, and one way of doing that is to pop some things together that we can get rid of. Neither of these are actually popped up, they're just straight glued down to the card front. I'm just going to pop that down in the middle. Now we can work on our colouring. The colours we're going to do, let's start with the little man golfing there. And I have Knight of Navy. I'm going to do his hat. I'm actually just going to use the blender pen for this one because it's only small areas. And I'm going to do his pants as well, and I'm going to really concentrate with the colours where those shadows are. So now I'm going to try and get rid of some of that colour and make it a little bit lighter. And that way we have a lot lighter part of his pants. I don't want it to be really dark. Now those shadows are probably a little bit darker than I would like. I might go in with a bit more colour. If you go in with a less colour with the shadows, your pants can be a little bit lighter. Just grabbed a scrap bit of paper just to be able to clean my blender pen. I'm going to get the smoky slate ink as well, just to do his shirt there. So the same again, going in, doing the shadows. And then what's left on the blender pen, we're just going to go in and finish colouring in. So I'm also going to do his glove there and just the end of his club. We're using the petal pink just for his colouring of his arms and around his neck, so hardly anything at all. I'm going to move on to the green. So we've got Call Me Clover, and this is where I'm going to bring the aqua painter in. And we don't want a lot of water because this is not watercolour paper. It won't stand up to a lot of water. So we're going to go in and just colour in around his feet. Just protect my surface there a little. So you can come back in and add a little bit more colour. And I'm also going to come in and colour in the trees. Now, the tip is not to go right to the edge of the trees. You can leave white spaces. But we're going to come in with a few colours here. We're going to come in with the shaded spruce and also the crumb cake. So just to create a little bit of those colours that trees are. You know, it's not all one colour, it's a mixture of a few. So also do those little ones down here. So we're not adding too much water, keeping the water to a minimum. And I've really made these ones a little bit darker down below. Just going to clean off the aqua painter. Let's go in with the shaded spruce. And I just want to add a little bit of colour in. As you can see, just a little bit around. I'm just going to add a little bit on those bottom ones as well. Just gives it a little bit of extra depth as well. So ideally we'd like to wait for that to dry a little bit. I'm going to bring the crumb cake in and I can just colour in the trunks. Being really careful. And I'm also going to colour in up in the trunks right in the top of the tree, so just adding a little bit extra colour in there. Now there is a little bit still on my pencil, on my painter, so I'm just going to sort of blend that colour in just a little. I think I went a little bit overboard with this one, so I didn't want to add too much in this one. So let's get rid of that green and the brown, and we can come in and do the sky. So this is balmy blue that we're using. And I've just added a little bit of water because I don't want it to be a really dark colouring. But I'm just going to pop on a little bit of that colour. Being really careful of the paper. It's just designer series paper, it's not watercolour. You can see that water has just warped that designer series paper quite a bit, which is why I have the other piece of thick Whisper White to be the backing behind it. So there's our colouring. I'm going to move that to the side to let that dry. And while we're doing that, let's work on that sentiment. So we have that already mounted. I'm going to bring that piece of Whisper White in, and we're going to be using the Night of Navy ink for that sentiment. It's not really on my block very straight. Let's try that again. And the sentiment says, "You do a great job of being a great guy," which I think is a lovely sentiment. So there's the stamping for the card. Pretty easy, hey? I might just hit this with the heat tool just to dry it a little bit better. When you're drying something that's been water affected, if you dry the other side as well, it will remain its shape just that little bit more. So I'm going to glue this one down to our backing piece, and I think I might just add some tear and tape to that one. You could definitely use the liquid glue as well. So plenty of adhesive. You want to really stick that warped designer series paper down well. And this is just a little bit smaller than the designer series paper. Whoops, it's not good. So I'm placing it down over the top of the designer series paper. Excellent. So that just gives that real bit more reinforced image. So I'm going to pop some designer series. I'm going to pop some tear and tape on the top and bottom, and that is for our vellum. So let's bring that in. You could certainly have a piece that goes all the way top and bottom, but I look at that as being wasteful when you can have two strips. Everything else is covered, so why waste it? So sticking that down, let's stick the other one, and I'm just eyeballing it. That's good. So cute. So this is going to get popped up with dimensionals, and we can do that now before we move on to the rest. So this designer series paper is really good for masculine cards. If you don't want to purchase the whole set, obviously you don't have to. You can do a lot with this designer series paper. Plenty of cards from it. Okay, so I'm just going to place that down in the middle. I'm going to chop off on the edges. I'm going the same way. Something a little different. And I'm going to glue that Night of Navy down. So I'm also going to use the tear and tape. It's on my desk right in front of me. And of course we're going to pop that one up as well. I'm getting over a bit of a cold, so my voice is still a little funny. I really wanted to video last weekend, but my voice was terrible. It's getting a little better now. Okay, now we're just going to move on to the very last thing. I have that Country Club twine in the Night of Navy. I'm just going to do a little bow. and bows are always stuck on, or ribbons always stuck on really well with glue dots. Definitely have these in a craft stash, they are awesome. So a little bit of a change to what's in the catalogue, but hopefully you can see that you can use your craft supplies that you have to change out a little bit as well. Thanks so much for joining me today for today's card. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you left me a comment. If you haven't hit subscribe, please do that as well. I'll be back very shortly with another video, so hopefully you can join me. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.